Hello, BookTube, and welcome to the Tiberius Donoghue Book Club. This is this channel's official book club in which every month we read something together. I wasn't sure how to do it. I'm not doing it a lot like other book clubs. I don't have a Discord or anything like that. There's no independent place for us to gather. Instead, it's been working fairly well where I pick a book and we break it up into 4 parts and talk about each one of those parts as time goes on. The people who have been taking part in the Steve Tiberius Donoghue Book Club have said they enjoyed it. So we are continuing, and in the month of March, we are reading The Mirror and the Light, the 3rd Thomas Cromwell novel from Hilary Mantel. I made a video earlier. You can find it in my backlist. Doing my best to bring you up to speed on the events and personalities in the story in case you haven't read the first 2 books, Wolf Hall and Bring Up the Bodies. I believe I did a good enough job so that you could almost smoothly step into this book. It turns out that a lot of you who've been emailing me and leaving me Voxer messages are either familiar with the book and are looking forward to the reread in company, or have read the first 2 books and have been putting off the 3rd one because it's almost as long as the first 2 books put together. So it's a little bit intimidating as a brick. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun. I don't know exactly the timetable here, but in addition to doing that read along, I want to do a giveaway on this channel. It was facilitated by a viewer who found me a few copies of The Mirror and the Light in the UK hardcover. So this lovely thing with the UK design, and this also has the built-in cloth bookmark there. So a lovely item. Very grateful to the viewer who sent me. He sent me 3 copies of this, 3 of these, that I want to give away. It's a little bit odd on this channel because in the 8 years that I've been doing BookTube, if I want to do a giveaway, I just give things away. My answer is almost always yes. When somebody asks me, could you find something for me? Or that thing that you showed on your channel, would you mind sending it to me? Or I hesitate to ask, but, would you? Or a lot of times, you don't have to wait to ask. I will make the offer. I found that that's a good way just to live, is not to wait for Christmas. Has been my rule. My rule has been don't wait till Christmas or birthdays. Give all the time. So it kind of feels weird to do a giveaway. That's usually a staple on channels where the host of the channel would not think of giving away anything that they weren't specifically designating that way. It's not really the way it is in this little corner BookTube. I've noticed that we tend to be pretty generous with all kinds of stuff, and tend to count the inconvenience of standing in line at the post office or the charge for the post office as largely inconsequential. It can be consequential. So I want to announce that I want to do a giveaway. I want to give away 3 of these hardcovers. Obviously, this won't be so that you have your copy in time for the Steve Tiberius Donoghue Book Club, since we're starting on the weekend. We're starting part 1 of this book on the weekend. So you're not getting that copy. You used to have a copy of this anyway. But in case you want this, I don't know how much interest there'll be in an actual just normal BookTube giveaway. But I want to try it. I've very seldom done a giveaway before in the past. So I have 3 of these to give away. And I guess I'll just go with first come, first serve. Provided that the first come, first serve obey the rules. I'm afraid, yes. I'm afraid so. For this giveaway, there are restrictions. 3 that come immediately to mind. 1 is that you have to live in the lower 48 states of the United States. Not Alaska, not Hawaii, and nowhere else in the world, including Canada and Mexico, but especially overseas. There is no outgoing mail from the United States to any other part of the world. As far as my experience goes, I'm sure that the international shipping companies would say otherwise, but I have almost never had that work. Occasionally I've had it work to Canada, but I've almost never had it work otherwise. What usually happens is, what has happened on this channel in the past, is that someone will say they really, really want a book, and I will package it up, and I will pay the $120 for postage, and it will not reach the person. And months later, they'll say, it didn't reach me, try again. And I have to gently point out to them, the post office doesn't refund the money. I'm just out that money. And you would never dream of just casually making such a request for money to a stranger in person. The only reason you're acting like a lunatic is because you're online and letting yourself do that. So the lower 48, if you're in the lower 48 of the United States, that's condition number 1. Condition number 2, again, this is just from experience on this channel, is that you have to know where you live. You have to know your mailing address. Now, there's nothing really that will stop you here if you don't. You won't get the book, but you could still waste my time and my money. You could definitely do that. It has been my experience when I've mailed out lots and lots of books through the people that I meet on this channel, and I would say probably 35, maybe 40% of the time, the recipient does not know where they live. They don't give me their correct address. They'll give me a street and a street number and a town and maybe a state, but they'll get the zip code wrong or it'll be incomplete. Maybe there's a name. Maybe the town has 2 names, but they just, when we're here, we just abbreviate it. But the post office doesn't abbreviate it, and there is a town by that name. There is a town by the abbreviated name, but it's not going to be you. In my experiences on this channel, I have had it happen a few times, more than I wish, that I send something to someone, it comes back to me, no addressee, address not found. I email the person and they say, oh yeah, I forgot this detail. Oh, try again. And again, I have to point out, the post office is not refunding me the money that I paid to ship it. I'm just out that money because you couldn't think to put your own address correct to me the first time on the first ask. The most egregious example of that happened 3 times. The same person, 3 times. They forgot 3 different things. And the 3rd time, they wrote back to me and said, for the very first time, the 3rd time it happened, they wrote back to me and said, I just realized what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm thinking. I am so sorry to waste your time and money like this. I am including with this email the absolutely last detail correct version of my mailing address. And I wrote back instantly and said, go to hell. And I used an adjective for hell. And that person has not got back to me. And I hope they crawled under a rock and never came out from it again. To even imagine that I would try a 3rd time. Whether you apologize or not. So condition number 2 is that you have to know where you live. I'm not going to give you the 3rd degree. I'm not going to question you over and over again. Are you sure this is right? Are you sure this is the right address? I'm not going to do that. If it's the wrong address, it'll bounce back to me and you'll never hear from me again. And then condition number 3, again, also drawn from my experience on this channel, is that the condition number 3 is that you have to want the book. So condition number 1 is you have to live within mailing distance of me. Condition number 2 is that you have to know where you live. And condition number 3 is that you have to want the book. Which you would think would be absolutely unspoken in a giveaway. But that's not true. The minute I put giveaway in the title of this video, every single rando Calrissian anywhere online is going to find it. They're not part of this community. They don't have any idea who I am. They don't have any idea what BookTube is. So let me give you a little example-driven shorthand here. If you write to me and say, I'd like to be considered for the giveaway, I might look at it. If you sent it, I might look at it. That's a quote from an offer. I wasn't a giveaway, but it was an offer that I made years ago on this channel. Someone wrote to me and said, I might look at it if you sent it. Thanks. Thanks for telling me that. But you might be interested. Okay, great. Well, let me know when you are interested. Of course, since you've already told me I might be interested, when you let me know that you are interested, I'm not going to believe you. So the 3rd condition here is that you have to want the book. You don't have to be dying for it, but you have to want it. If you think you're impressing me by writing thinking, yeah, I would pick it up off the ground, you're not. Okay, you're just being an a-hole. That's all. So there you go. We're doing a giveaway. 3 books, 3 conditions. You have to be within mailing distance of Hyde Cottage, which means you have to be in the lower 48 of the United States of America. You have to know where you live. You have to give me a correct mailing address. If you give me an incorrect mailing address, I'll be out the time of waiting in line and I'll be out the postage, but it'll be the one and only time I ever try it. Your name will go on a list. So you could do that, and I wouldn't know about it until after you've done it. And then the 3rd one is that you have to want the book. If you're going to be, Mr. Casual, be it with somebody else. So there you go. I don't know what interest there will be. Of course, you all know that if I found a copy of The Mirror and the Light and you needed it, I would send one anyway. But I have these 3. It seemed like a special occasion, and they are lovely. They are really lovely. So there you go. A giveaway for the Steve Tiberius Donoghue Book Club. How wild is that? We'll see if there's any response to it. And I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll touch base down the line. Thank you, BookTube.